Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I've never done a video this late, but very interesting day. Been really busy today, but I was watching the trial of George Floyd, and I know you like videos like this anyway, so I thought, why not? Seeing that I watched today's one, might as well. So I have watched three witnesses give evidence. In fact, the third witness is actually giving evidence as I speak, but I'm not going to be able to watch all of it, but I can always watch it tomorrow. The first witness was or is a 911 dispatcher who watched the police pin down George Floyd to the ground. And she says that the restraint went on for so long that she asked someone if her screens had frozen. So she would watch, the city, as it were, on a surveillance camera. And from time to time, she would see different parts of the city cameras. It wasn't always clear, what she would see on every good day. But then she had been working here for 6 years, and it was very rare for someone to put up the incident on the screen the way that it was put up. She had started by, seeing little snippets here and there of, the police officers arresting this man. And then at some point, she could see various police officers on the man. And she thought, this is not normal. And she was so worried that she actually had to call a sergeant to say, listen, you can call me a snitch if you want to. And then she proceeded to tell him who it was. I don't think she said, listen, that's just me. But then she said, you can call me a snitch if you want to. But what I'm saying is not usual. When questioned by the prosecutor and by the defense, she made it very clear what she was thinking at the time. She was worried about what she was saying. It had taken so long that she had to ask someone if her screens were frozen, because this particular scene was just on the screen and she couldn't imagine how police officers could be arresting a man for that long, or how police officers could be detaining a man for that long. I mean, the officer who restrained Mr. Floyd was kneeling on his neck for about 9 minutes 30 seconds. And Derek, the officer whose leg was on this black man's neck, is going to be arguing at court through his lawyers that he acted within the bounds of his training. I mean, if you watch the video, you don't have to be a lawyer or anything. It's very clear that they took too long they were restraining this man for too long. There are videos that show this man, George Floyd, not fighting with anyone. He was arrested. He was already in cuffs. If you are in handcuffs, I mean, who can you fight? You will not necessarily be fighting anyone. If you say he was resisting arrest, what do you mean by that? Do you mean he was kicking, he was punching? Found again. What do you mean? We do not know what he was thinking, but the main thing was, if you say he was resisting entering the car, sat on the floor, possible. And then even with the stories that they have him being put in the car, they should have just driven off. But the second witness came up to say she was quite shocked or confused as to why George Floyd was put in the car. The doors were shut, and at some point the doors were open again, and he was allowed out, and the whole rigmarole started again. But the main thing today, I think, that would be very, very detrimental to the defense is the fact that the video was played to the jury. There is one thing about someone telling you something and another thing about you seeing it in black and white on video. I mean, the first time I watched this video, I couldn't get to the end. And even today, I refuse to see anything that I just did not want to see. And the jury, they are not lawyers. They are lay people. They would make a decision based on what they see, based on what they hear. So the prosecutors got it, or the prosecution got it right when they played the video before anything else. I mean, all of this was because the officers had responded to a call that Mr. Floyd had passed a fake $20 bill at a place called Cop Foods. And you can just see all this craziness play out in front of Cop Foods. I mean, at some point they crossed the road, then they went the other way, they came back with a one man. And the defense were trying to make it look like George was fighting everyone. Because, what's her name now? Jenna, the first witness, was saying that at some point she could see the car moving. The defense were trying to say that the reason why the car was moving was because George was fighting with his people. But then there is another video on the internet that was from a CCTV of a nearby restaurant to where this happened. And you could see George not fighting anyone. You could also see him in today's video not fighting anyone. You can see how this went from, looking very harmless to all these police officers fighting this one man. When I say fighting, you can interpret that anyhow you want. But the main thing was that they outnumbered him. They outnumbered him. And for the first witness today to say, I thought my screens were frozen because I kept seeing this for too long and I knew something was wrong. And for her to say she had to pick up the phone and call a sergeant. A sergeant is like the boss of the police officers, to say something is wrong. I know it is out of the scope of my duties to call you. Call me a snitch if you want to, but something is wrong. Then you know that really something was wrong. And the defense were trying to downplay what she was saying. They were saying that she does not have the expertise in determining whether or not the police acted appropriately. They were saying that at the end of the day, she sounded like she was calling for backup for the officers. Whether she was calling for backup for the officers or not, it's not relevant. The main thing was she knew something was wrong and she was trying to, downplay it in a way that she did not lose her job, because when she called the sergeant, she was talking very fast, and then the sergeant was sounding so professional, so she became a bit laid back, and that's why she said, call me a snitch. You can call me a snitch if you want to. And when asked why she used the term snitch, she just basically said, listen, this is out of the scope of my duties. We're calling a sergeant concerning the use of force, issue, but she knew that definitely there was something wrong. This is really sad that, a man would have someone on his neck, for such a long time, for 9 minutes and 30 seconds after throwing him all about and making him very tired, went from the car outside, crossed the road, all of that. And now the defense is trying to say that George Floyd, had drugs in his system. The thing about the human body is you can never tell where you will hit someone and it will go pear-shaped. Maybe, this man would have just been, arrested and then he even slumped and died. But then you don't want to be putting your leg on his neck. Whether he has drugs in him or not is very irrelevant in my books. But we're going to see how this one plays out. Let me know what you are thinking. Do you think that the use of force was required? Do you think that he was, fighting with the police? Do you think that the use of force was required concerning a fake $20 bill with all of this backup? Do you think they should have taken him out of the car, into the car, out of the car, and all of that? Tie the man down and then, put a leg to his neck. Is that how you restrain someone who is not fighting you, who does not have, who does not have, free hands to fight you? What do you think? I find it very interesting the way the American law works. The judge actually stands up when the witnesses come in, and then the witnesses, swear the oath in front of the judge. It's very unusual. Not unusual, but it's very different from here in England, where you actually stand when the judge sits, and you would have a clerk, swear the people in. They will give an oath in front of the clerks. The second witness was unsettled. At some point, she even said she didn't want to be there, but she was very good witness. She was asked if, the way the crowd behaved affected how the police officer acted. And she said, listen, even people watching this are as angry as the crowd. We see how this this works. I think the world is going to be better after this. I hope. What do you think? Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. And let me know what you're thinking. If you like videos like this, I'll make some more. Hopefully not too late as this when people are sleeping.